Rightio legends, Cast Chronicles, and we're back again with another video. And so today I thought we'd do a reaction video, and I found this really awesome video on Pentridge Prison. So this is back in the 80s. It's called the Pentridge Prison Bluestone Challenge. But before we get into it, if you guys haven't already and you guys are loving my content, if you could chuck a subscription down there, that'd be absolutely appreciated. And if you tap that bell icon, you'll never ever miss any of my clips again. And if you feel up to it, guys, drop a comment, guys. I generally reply to most comments, and yeah, if you press that share button, that really helps my page as well, guys. And so a few people brought to my attention that the Discord link in my channel page wasn't working, so that's been fixed up as well, guys. Just thought I'd let you all know that. And yeah, we do have memberships available as well, guys. My merchandise store is now connected to my channel page as well. All right, well, let's get into it. The Bluestone Challenge, Pentridge. Let's go.
The Bluestone Challenge gives the men and women of Pentridge a chance to pit themselves against well-known sporting champions in weightlifting, swimming, running and boxing. The idea is to promote sport within the jail, and the action was aplenty. For the media, it was a chance to get inside the walls of Pentridge for the first time since the deaths of 5 prisoners in Jika 3 weeks ago. That incident sparked government inquiries, searches and claims that prisoners...
I'm pretty sure that guy at the start with the bald head and the moustache was someone that I know, and hopefully they show him again, and I'll let you guys know if it was or not.
Had caches of arms and were ready for a series of protests against prison conditions. But there were none of the reported tensions today, as everyone seemed determined to enjoy themselves. Former world champion and leading contender for the world junior lightweight crown Lester Ellis drew the most attention. Ellis and his challenger Mark had previously sparred, but that didn't deter the challenger.
I knew it was going to be a hard spar, because every time Lester and I have sparred before, they've always been hard spars. He's a good hard hitter.
I don't get to see, mate, so if I can help him anyway, especially on the boxing side of it, or fitness.
So Lester Ellis was a world champion boxer, Australian champ, and pretty sure he got pretty deep in the crime world as well, which unfortunately a lot of boxers do. And yeah, Lester Ellis.
Yes, I'm glad to help.
Reports it was all in good fun at the annual Bluestone Challenge.
It was off with the prison blues and on with the jogging shoes at the 3rd annual Bluestone Challenge today. Inmates who dared to take on boxing tough guy Dave Russell were given a quick sparring.
Well, there you go. It was exactly who I thought it was. So that guy is actually one of my dad's best friends. I've got pictures of me as a young kid holding his Intercontinental Heavyweight Champion belt. And yeah, he was very good as well. And yeah, I've seen him a lot as a youngster.
Lesson to the delight of the fellow prisoners. Stars of the footy field Craig Starkovich and Paul Tuddenham then showed plenty of dash at the end of the team sprint. And despite cramped conditions, both prisoners and sporting guests seemed to enjoy the friendly rivalry. The 7 teams comprised Sporting Identities and Pentridge and Fairley prisoners. And at the end of the day, it was a chance for those heavily armed participants to show off their strength. And the winner, an amazing 138 push-ups in 1 minute. Dean Craig, 10 News.
Damn, that's a good effort. 138 push-ups in 1 minute. That's a really, really good effort. But if you were doing those push-ups, probably wouldn't count. You've got to go all the way down and all the way back up. But yeah, that would still be hard doing that 100 times. Don't get it 138 times. Yeah, that's good effort, mate. Good effort.
In evening news, hope from a hellhole of violence as 5 hardened prisoners use shock tactics to turn would-be criminals from a life of crime.
They're led past coiled razor wire, bars, steel cages, but not even that can prepare them for what they're about to.
A 10 Evening News
It comes in the shape of a day in prison program aimed at pulling young offenders away from a path of crime. It started after 5 of Victoria's most hardened criminals wrote 1,500 letters to judges, police and politicians pleading for a chance to prove the scheme could work. We were allowed rare access to the maximum security areas of Pentridge to talk to the 5 men involved. Welcome to Pentridge, maximum security A division. For years now, we've been told that this place is a hellhole, and it is. It's violent, it's rife with drugs, but it's not without hope. There is hope here, and we've found it. And surprisingly, it rests with 5 of the state's most hardened criminals. You are now seeing what many young offenders experience on a day in prison program, to shock them away from a career.
See, this is exactly what we need today for the youth. Like someone asked me yesterday, what do you think we can do to tackle this problem? This is what we need to do. We need to send these youth in and let them know, and let the actual real crooks tell them, you know, what will actually happen to them when they get to a man's prison for them crimes. And most of them are putrid, you know, like hurting families and stuff like that. It's you know, and that's definitely what they need for sure.
Fear in crime, youngsters are confronted with the hard, uncompromising faces of Ross, Mark, Marcus, Lee and Billy, who've notched up 52 years in jail. Their crimes range from drug trafficking to armed robbery and murder. Right from the start, none of the real horror of prison is hidden from the kids who come into Pentridge for the day in prison program. They're led past coiled razor wire, bars, steel cages, but not even that can prepare them for what they're about to hear.
We tell them about the violence. This place lives on violence. It doesn't matter how good you can fight. There's no one-on-one fighting in this place. You know, they'll get you.
And you heard that guy say under his breath, you just heard it say, and who you are. All right, let's go back a little bit.
What they're about to hear.
We tell them about the violence. This place lives on violence. It doesn't matter how good you can fight.
Hear that?
There's no one-on-one fighting in this place.
And that's the truth. And you can't tell me that a program like this, where they take youth in to meet actual real hardened crooks, and them to like tell them exactly how it's going to be in there, you know, what's going to happen to them when they hit the yard for doing most of these putrid crimes. And yeah, you know, I think a bit of like scared straight or whatever you want to call it, but like, you know, just a real reality check. I think that's what's definitely needed, and I think it would work. Let me know what you think in the comment section, guys, if you think this is what we need in Australia right now for our youth crime problem.
You know, they'll get you while you might be sitting on the toilet with your pants down. 4 of them will run in.
Get you in the shower.
The shower.
You might be sitting upstairs playing cards, and all of a sudden an argument will break out, and the bloke will produce a knife and just stab the bloke sitting next to you. I mean, you're so used to it. You're so tuned into seeing it. My reaction was, oh, yeah, another 2 packets.
Yeah, just keep playing. That's it.
You know, and Roscoe marks them. He says, oh, you know, 6 out of 10, you know. I mean, if you had graphic pictures.
Yeah. We lean against the cell doors.
And that's exactly what it's like. Like, it happens that often. Like, you heard him. It was like they were scoring it out of 10. And, like, it's like such an everyday occurrence that, like, that you just don't. This is exactly why you don't want to go there, because, you know, unless you've got a crew or something like that, you're really on your own. And especially if you're a first timer, you will understand, for most people, the first time in their life, what really being on your own is really like. Because, like, a lot of this prison world is very, very unforgiving, and they couldn't give a shit who you are and where you've come from and what your sad story is. They don't care.
We know that something's going to go on or something's going to go down. The next moment, we see somebody come staggering at the cell, like injured or whatever, and we say, oh, yeah, good one. We give him 7 out of 10 for that, things like that. Especially happens every day.
Overall, you know, I mean, it is a violent environment. We become inured to that violence. And then when you get out, you take that violence out into the society with you. I mean, you sit on a lot of emotions here, and aggression's one that's sort of always on the move. And when you go out, it doesn't take a lot to sort of start the ball rolling again, and you find.
Geez, I'll tell you what, I do not miss those days with the TVs like that. I'm tipping that's a VHS video, and I do not miss those days one bit.
That you're a lot more violent than what you thought you were, and your crimes are deemed to be a lot more violent. And that's really what jail is. It's a breeding ground for this. I mean, a kid comes in here fairly innocent, so to speak, to the ways of the world. He goes out a bigger and better criminal.
You know, and once again, that's the truth as well. And like, you know, that's why I think that sending people, like, the first resort is always prison. And I think before that, there needs to be some kind of resolution. Do you know what I mean? And like, that's why I think things like this, like where they take young men, young kids into a prison, you know, like teenagers and the offenders that are like committing these crimes, they're not innocent people, so they're not gonna, you know what I mean? It's not like you're introducing him to something. They need this, and it's they need the reality check of it all for it to work. And yeah, I just believe that this would work 100%.
The reason we've been allowed behind these walls is because not only is something remarkable happening to keep people out of prison, but something equally remarkable is happening in the hearts and minds of some of this jail's toughest criminals.
You know, I'm feeling a lot better about myself now. I mean, I don't have to be, as they say, an evil bastard anymore, you know. I mean, I can
prove we can do that. Yeah, we're trying to prove we can do. We talked about the kids for days afterwards saying, oh yeah, I think he'll go all right and things like that.
If you were a 17-year-old kid and you came in here and you went through the program and you come into this room and you sat down on the chair and I said to you, well, you know, listen, Joe, this is what goes on here. We had an incident not long ago where a bloke in another division had drugs secreted in his anus and 3 prisoners grabbed him. They assaulted him and actually dug the drugs out. I mean, if that 17-year-old kid can't grasp something out of that, well, he's not going to photos of it.
And there you go. That's called the Pentridge enema, and obviously that's why. And this is something that still goes on today. Like, people think that, you know, because it's secreted, like he said, in their anus, that people can't get to it. Well, you better be like, people will get to it, and the way they get to it is brutal, like using, you know, cutlery and stuff like that to pry. You know, it's pretty fucking brutal. And these are the reasons why, you know, the youth that are watching this, that are, you know, tossing up whether they want to leave that life, these are the reasons why you want to leave that life. Because yeah, 100%, you'll know what alone feels like when you experience prison for the first time. I promise you that.
Yeah, and then you produce the photos.
People have been killed for whatever, you know, drugs, whatever.
Yeah, there's been quite a few suicides too through it, you know, that you don't hear about, that they either owe drug debts or they've been raped and they just can't take it anymore. So the next morning when the officer opens up the door, there's a kid dangling there from the ceiling.
There's nothing so gruesome as seeing a kid hanging there from his guitar.
That sort of death rattle and that.
Yeah.
Was that a young kid?
Young kid hung himself.
We don't want to see these kids doing the same thing.
Yeah,
so that's what we're trying to get
from a guitar string too. That's crazy. Yep, brutal.
Across to them, and out of it, well, it's making us all better people, hopefully, and we're achieving something with these young kids, so they don't have to go through the heartache, and their families don't have to go through the heartache that us and our families have gone through.
So far, not one of the young people confronted by these 5 extraordinary men has reoffended. That's a saving to the...
Look at that. That's got to be saying something. I reckon, and you know, once again, I reckon it would have the same effect today. And yeah, I think that the right people, if you're listening to this, that this is what needs to be implemented in our society. I don't know how to make these things, you know, but like, obviously, you know, the right people in the right positions would be able to make this kind of thing happen. And I think this is what needs to happen.
Community of $40,000 a year for every kid kept out of jail. But the saving is even greater than that. There's a kind of saving grace in seeing compassion and self-worth kindled in these men's eyes. Hope straight from the heart of hell. 17 to 21-year-olds are the fastest growing age group in Victoria's prison population. There are more than 200 already in the system. Hopefully the Day in Prison program can turn that tide by reaching young offenders before they enter the prison system.
Inmates giving him lots of bouquets, well, it seems rather far-fetched, but the retiring John Darcy Dugan earned this rare...
What was her name? Jennifer Kite? Okay, Jennifer Kite. I'm pretty sure that's her name.
Praise today for helping prisoners start a scheme to deter young offenders. Diana King reports.
Chief Magistrate John Dugan, affectionately called Darcy, arrived at Pentridge Prison with his successor, Sally Brown. It was for a ceremony to mark the success of a program developed by 5 long-term prisoners with the help of Mr Dugan.
He's a well-known judge, this one.
Known for his courtroom joviality and the Office of Corrections. It's called a Day in Prison program, allowing first-time young offenders to see life behind the Bluestone walls and hopefully put them off crime for life. 22 have tasted prison life and only 1 has reoffended. After 40 years in the legal profession, Darcy Dugan has met these prisoners, 2 serving murder sentences on more than 1 occasion.
Not bad, this bloke. He been on the bench 40 years and only made 1 mistake. I didn't convict you, did I? You never give me bail.
There was certainly mutual admiration on both sides of the bench.
Maybe, just maybe, if there was a scheme like this 25, 30 years...
He looks like Graham Kennedy a little bit. That's who he looks like, doesn't he? He really does.
...ago, these fellas wouldn't be here, I don't know. But they want to give these kids, give them the insight of what it's all about in here. It's not easy, it's not funny, and it's not glorified. It's a real tough, hard life.
Mark Smith, one of the scheme organisers, is serving an 18-year murder sentence.
That's all jail is. It's a life of misery. We try and open up their eyes to let them know what jail's all about.
It's now planned to introduce the scheme to the Geelong and Fairleigh Women's Prison.
Yeah, not all the time with good results, I can tell that right now.
Tracy Dale, National 9 News.
In finance news,
It's promoting a highly successful scheme to keep young people out of jail. The project has been so successful it is now to be expanded. Jim Brown went inside Pentridge to see prisoners pay their respects to the man who put them there.
This was the formal act of recognition to mark the success of one of the most innovative programs ever devised to keep young people out of jail, the Day in Prison program, conceived by 4 prisoners doing time. Prison authorities and soon-to-retire Chief Magistrate John or Darcy Dugan got right behind the scheme, and the initial success rate has delighted everyone. One of the keys to its success is the warm relationship between Darcy Dugan and the men he's dealt with on the magistrate's bench.
Where's your other hand, Darcy?
According to the prisoners, Darcy Dugan kicked down bureaucratic doors to get the scheme. One of the prisoners who counsels young offenders, Bill Prideaux, explained the importance of keeping them out of the prison system.
You know, they call it the College of Knowledge. Yeah. They're learning how to steal better cars, maybe how to do armed robberies, you know, get involved with drug dealers. And they just become...
That was the last name of the Barwon prison boss that went missing. Wonder if that's any relation.
Another cog in the wheel, and you lose them. You know, you can find a kid, if he comes back here 2 or 3 times before he's 21, you generally find that that's his lifespan.
Apart from the humanitarian arguments, there are sound financial reasons why the Day in Prison program should be expanded. It's claimed 24 out of the 25 youngsters who've spent 1 day in Pentridge have decided to keep out of the place for good. At $40,000 per prisoner per year to keep them, that's more than $1 million saved for the taxpayer already.
Well, there you go, guys. The Bluestone prison challenge at the start, and then that program at the end there. See, I didn't even know that was going to happen. So most of these videos, when I do these reactions, I don't watch them. So my reaction is like as genuine as it can be. And you can't tell me that that's not something that they need to at least try. It seems that every single other thing that they're trying just doesn't seem to be working. And I think something like this is actually a real Australian thing. And I think that this is something that needs to be implemented. Let me know what you guys think in the comments, because like I reckon 100% this is what needs to be done. And yeah, I'm firm on that. But yeah, guys, if you got any other clips you want me to do a reaction to, chuck it down there in the comment section of this video also. And yeah, that'd be absolutely appreciated. If you guys haven't already subscribed, chuck me a subscription. That'd be appreciated. And if you hit that bell icon, you'll never miss any of my clips again. I am the Chaos Chronicles. We talk about everything crime and prison here in Australia and in and around the world. And yeah, don't do drugs and crime and you won't end up in prison. We out.
The Chaos Chronicles, where the darkness thrives. True tales of madness, where the spirit survives.